Good morning, my name is Kirsty Dignam and I'm here to look at the energies for this week with today's Monday's musings. I've just put my phone to one side, I've emptied my pockets, I've laid everything out in front of me to really look at what's going on and to avoid any distractions. For me this week, particularly this weekend, let's really hone in. The last 24 hours, there have been some, I feel like I have to pull my big girl pants up. There have been some monumental triggers. If we're going to really shift some of the energy that's been held in our body as a skill, as the skill that it is, it's about being able to express without directly relating them to others, owning these responses, this emotional intelligence. One of the things I've pulled out of my pocket today, one of the crystals I've actually been drawn to is pyrite. And all I kept hearing was fool's gold, fool's gold. Not all that sparkles, not all that glitters is gold, fool's gold. And we can really, really dig deep, and we can think, because we've dug very, very deep, because we've, resubmerged with all this pain and all this coming out of our body, that we've done the work. And actually, it may not be the case this week. One, we may not need to dig as deep. Two, really ensuring that what we're retrieving is gold, what we're retrieving is valuable, or is it an illusion? Is it something sparkly that's taken our interest away from what it is we were trying to do in the first place? We placate this almost like sacred anger that's coming up, and that really isn't the case. I'm not suggesting that. What I'm suggesting is to find the gold in the shit underneath it all, to really go into it, to, we really don't use our energy well when we make a situation about someone else. If we can bring it back to ourselves, why am I feeling this? What is happening? What is rising to the surface for me? What are the treasures that I can gain from this? It becomes a lot more empowering, more on a embodied, we've just had that new Virgo moon, more on a shamanic applicable level. It's one thing to find the gold. What are we going to spend it on? And I say that because I know that Mercury is no longer going backwards, and it can be like, yes, we're out of Mercury retrograde period. But actually, Mercury retrograde most of the time gives us a chance to really go in and sense what is occurring. And when it starts to move forward, it's like, so what are you going to do about it? If anything, but knowing that actually now that you're aware of it, things are naturally going to start to shift anyway. And that could be all the digging that's required. This belief that spirituality, that meditation, healing, that we've all got our shit together, that everything is perfect, that the good girl, the good man, the good non-binary, the good soul energy is the only energy to get behind. It's unrealistic. It's incredibly inaccurate, and it's almost degrading to the human experience. We assume that Jesus didn't struggle. We assume, that certain saints and figures throughout time have always known and always trusted and always had hope and belief, and it's putting other energies up on this pedestal. Mastery comes from experiencing things. It's mastery of the self. So whatever you're going through right now, it is part of mastering who you are. No one is suggesting that you cut it out. Far from it. Yeah, no one is suggesting that you start taking chunks out of yourself and making yourself into holy cheese. Far from it. Bring it back to wholeness and completion of knowing sometimes we're twats. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes we struggle and we doubt and we fall and we question. And that's part of the beautiful process of experiencing life. Just look at the boxes. Yeah, this week literally it does what it says on the tin. Okay, so just looking at something for what it is, feeling into what you get, and believing that message, trusting that message, that's really quite important as well. Because particularly when it comes to triggering, we can get really caught up in it's all about me. It's all stuff I have to fix. It's all stuff I have to heal. And to an extent, we have to take, or not, responsibility for ourselves. But there can be situations, one in particular I had over the last 24 hours, where you think something's off with this. Something isn't right with this. And actually, what I'm seeing is what I'm seeing. Found in every famous story, from Star Wars to, well, you name it, the Barbie film. It's the Fool's Journey for those that have seen it. But it is about coming full circle this week. What have we discovered on this path that we have walked, and what are we going to take forward? Because each archetype evolves, including the Fool. It doesn't remain the not knowing character that is just blindly wandering through life. It becomes the master of knowing, but knowing that we know nothing actually. Okay, being open to infinite learning, continuous learning, including with our wounds. It's very difficult when something rises again, especially if we're going to see it from where it was. Truly see where it's coming from. Am I in that situation anymore? Is this occurring anymore? Is it in my present moment? What have I discovered from that? How can I now heal that by bringing it back home to myself? Receive the acknowledgement that there is support there. There's always support there. There is love there. How open we are to that, how vulnerable that can make us actually feel. And it is about acknowledging how we individually can best navigate these energies now. It's not about us closing that down. It's about us listening to what is rising within us to be heard. What's going to happen? I need to know what's going to occur before I feel safe enough or strong enough to do or deal with what's in front of me. Or whatever's going, we may know what's going to happen next year and feeling as if we haven't quite got the strength to deal with that now. Next year is next year. You will receive what you need in time for the time that you need it. Seeing if we can hold up our own creative expression for the individual and collective beauty that it is, then we will celebrate. But rather, there's still this comparison, there's still this, what have you got in your cup? Oh, why haven't I got that in my cup? You know, what cup have I got? Da, da, da. I need my needs met, you need your need. There's a lot of confusion here on the Monday emotionally, in our own authenticity. A lot of people talk about authenticity, myself included, and you know, the path that we walk, and we are who we are, we're real on social media, and yeah, da 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 da. And then I do it, we berate ourselves for feeling things. We want to be a certain way, we compare ourselves, I'm particularly at the moment with stages in my life with my physical body. Oh my gosh, I'm like, oh God, look at that. Oh God. Really, really looking at that this week. Really looking at how authentic we are being to our being. How open and honest and just and fair we are with the things that we are continuing to consume, to see, to do, to project, to become. Because on the Sunday, there is a wonderful opportunity to walk away from it. When I went past the trying to logically explain it and da-da-da-da-da, I went into the grief of the fact that I miss my mother. The triggers definitely came from childhood and they definitely came from our relationships, but it didn't matter, I missed her. And really being with that this week, really being with that heart medicine this week is pivotal. Absolutely pivotal. If we can allow what needs to be expressed, to be heard by us. Okay, so to actually be heard by us in how we feel, journaling, dancing, whatever it takes, but really to listen into the changes in the wheel of fortune that our body, that our soul is asking for, we can naturally restore the harmony, the balance, the justice that we are searching for in our life. This week, really looking at what it is you've committed to not forget, how you are choosing to remember any suffering that you have gone through. When I was walking through the field of poppies, and I feel that in my chest, what I heard, and take this as you will, because this is who I am, what I heard from the flowers was that they were planted for their beauty, that their symbol was always beauty. You know, they've been used to ease pain, obviously with opium. They've been a source of addiction. They've been a source of celebrating and at times holding on to the battles that we have had. But ultimately, they were there to represent beauty. Keeping that in mind this week, if we are to move through any suffering, where's the beauty in it all? Find it. It's your job to plant the seeds of your own path. Take care. Have the most wonderful, wonderful week.